All the promise when they make, they don't be like saying I fake. Where the money, where the food, cause everybody want it food. Since you come, the tears and pain, we don't tire to complain, I see the bad way you've been doing. You don't turn Nigeria into two. 97% and 5%. You know we talk like president. They rule Nigeria with sentiment. And take your office to revenge. Oh yeah now, Oga Buhari, we dey beg you. Make Nigeria no go scatter for your head, yo. Yes, sir. After the election, where them do, we still dey wait to see the change, yo. Cause all the promise when they make, they don't be like saying I'm fake, yo. And where the money, where the food, Nigerian people want it food. But since you come, the tears are pain, we don't tire to complain, no one coming for the youth.
Good morning
And security.
and welcome to Maiyegun Genaral again this morning. Today's sermon is going to be on the novel coronavirus, COVID-19, in Nigeria and the rest of the world, because we joke a lot. We joke a lot about everything. We laugh a lot. And then we commonize, even in the middle of danger. People still want to make it look like it's not that bad. But maybe my broadcast this morning will help us in helping those who are going to be vulnerable during this period, and also to call on the government of Nigeria, those in charge, the decision makers, to do the right thing. People's life is at stake, and we need to stop playing about it. It is not a joke. It is not funny, and no one is immune from the COVID-19. I live here in the UK, and it is a serious thing. Before it got here, it was more or less like, well, it will never get here. And if it ever gets here, the healthcare system in the UK will take care of it. But let me be honest with you. It is so big now that even the UK government is worried on how to take care of those that are likely to be affected by it. Mostly aged people who are 65 and above, people who have critical medical history, those who know that their lungs, they have had a lung issue. There are those who are living with us. They look normal. They look okay. But the problem of this virus is that it doesn't know your color. It doesn't recognize your religion. It doesn't recognize your class, whether you are rich or poor, whether you are young or old. It has its own ways that once it attacks your system, if your immune system cannot defend and withstand it, right, you are likely to be down with flu. And when I say flu, that is what we call catarrh in Nigeria. Catarrh. And then, there are other symptoms that eventually, when your immune system cannot hold back or defend you, at that point, there are other symptoms you will see. And we need to talk about these things because you may look so okay, so healthy now, and you didn't really know. Probably there are other things, underlying health issues that you have. And for those of you who have it, you should be worried. And for those of you who have families, who have friends, who have this underlying health issues, You should be concerned for them. You shouldn't be selfish. You shouldn't use religion. You shouldn't use any other ignorant comments just to make it look light and simple. And that is what is happening with those in government. We have been talking about COVID-19 now for a while. All over the world, people have been reading about it. But one thing I observe is that in Nigeria, nothing was put in place to prepare for it. First, the government of Nigeria, they have done well, by the way. The whole world even acknowledges that. The Nigerian government and the people in Nigeria who have been one way or the other covering this, what do you call it, covering this pandemic. Nigeria did so well in the area of, what do you call it, in the area of people's migration into the country. They've done a bit well. They've also done well in the reaction towards the few cases that they've discovered, the earliest cases discovered, and the publicity, the awareness. So far, so good. Many people knows about this now, but there's something that will likely defeat that, because if the virus, because the same way the United Kingdom, the United States of America never believed that it will become something so big that Italy have lost over 3,000 people. Over 90% of those people are aged people. And Italy happens to be the country with the highest population of old people in the world. I think after Japan, or maybe before Japan as well. So it targeted at the vulnerable population, the old people, as well as people with health conditions. So what should be done now? I am happy also that so many other organizations, government, state government in Nigeria are now shutting down schools, declaring a ban on a public gathering. These are very, very good measures. The purpose of that is this. Look at the UK, NHS, #1 healthcare system in the whole world, adjudged to be the best in the world, right? Is currently grappling with the effects of coronavirus on the citizens, especially the old people and the people with health conditions. Now, the UK government is putting so many other measures in place for those who are going to be affected when this whole thing finally hits us here in the UK. People like myself that may not even have the coronavirus or may not be down with the virus, but my means of livelihood, my daily my daily survival will be affected as businesses begin to shut down too. My own office, in my own company, they are currently, it's more or less like if I feel like I don't want to go to work anymore, from now on, I can stay home. But because the government has put a measure in place that will take care of me during this period, because I may not get the COVID-19, but I will also be affected with the hysteria, the whole panic around, especially job-wise. So many companies will begin to tell people to stay away because they won't be able to pay salaries. So because of this, when people don't get paid, if you stay home and you don't work, there are so many of us that that will not survive on just a leave pay alone. If we have to pay our rent, if we have to pay for electricity, utility, if we have to feed ourselves, now that the kids will be home, you spend more. So the government of the UK, apart from putting in place measures to take care of those that will be affected, right? They are now encouraging the country, the people, to self-isolate. Self-isolation means even if you have it or you don't have it, the point is that stay home, stay away from public. Don't go out if you don't have to. You can go out for your supplies. You can go out to do your shopping, yes, but not like the way we do it anymore. So that you staying home means if you don't have it, you won't have it. Though if you have it, you won't spread it. So this measure, right, is put in place by the UK government, which is great. Now, they are also putting measures in place to help businesses. For instance, the businesses that are relying very much on their daily income, their daily earnings and stuff like that, they will be affected. Many businesses will actually shut down if they can't open. So there are many businesses that would actually shut down in the UK if they are unable to open for just 2 weeks. So government is now providing resources for them every month. Apart from the fact that government is now working to stop, to put a fund into mortgage system, so that if you are a house owner, that probably you have a house in the UK and you rent this house out to other tenants, private renters. So government is now providing mortgage support for these people, which is like holiday. No problem. You won't be penalized if you are unable to pay your mortgage this few months of until further notice. So whoever, your tenants who are also going to be affected by this, they won't have to pay rent. So at the end of the day, someone like me may end up not paying rent throughout this period of coronavirus, because my own income will be affected too. So at the end of the day, there will be negative impact of this whole thing at the end of the day, but it will be minimized. In Nigeria, human beings live there. The politicians yesterday in Ibadan, in fact, Seyi Makinde, our supposed intelligent governor, a disappointing outing yesterday. They held a rally. They call it unity or unifying or whatever they call it, rally in Ibadan. And there were thousands of people there. At least you can still see as much as 5 to 6, 7,000 people gathered, cramped in a place to celebrate unity of the people. And this is a period whereby just 2 days ago, there's this UK returnee, a Nigerian who schooled in the UK. She returned back to Nigeria to serve in the NYSC. She was posted to Ekiti. So she returned back to Nigeria far back in January 25. So look at that, look at that margin, that time, January 25 to this period. So she started feeling these symptoms of COVID-19. She was sneezing, she was coughing, she was, running temperature and so many other symptoms like that. And let me also say this as well for those who are watching me, that you run these symptoms doesn't mean that you have it. Okay, that is why it is better for government to provide test kits for everyone who may have these symptoms. That you have these symptoms doesn't mean that you have coronavirus. Don't panic or don't see it as, oh my God, I'm going to die. No, it is not a death sentence. But it is good that you should know about it, so that when you see people who are suffering from it, you will know what to do yourself. So what we are saying is that this lady returned back to Nigeria to serve in the NYSC, and she developed these symptoms and she reported that. So eventually she was transported to Osun State. So where she was kept, the place that would be on a quarantine area was unkept. You know that we heard the story of the 70-year-old woman who also returned from the UK, and she also was feeling these symptoms, and she approached University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, Enugu, for check. And the medical staff there, who were more or less like unprepared, many of them ran away. Those who could stay to attend to her told her that they had no kit, they had no test kit for anything at all, that she needs to go. So eventually the place they had to quarantine her was so horrible that it actually made the news. Eventually she died, but she didn't die from coronavirus. From report, she died from something else, not the COVID-19. So what we are saying is that people are now possibly now using the excuse of, what about market? Should government not shut market? Government don't need to shut the market. You should ration what you go to the market to do this time. You don't go to the market if you can make your shopping once that will last you for a while. The purpose of that is not because you are going to catch a coronavirus. The purpose is because, the purpose is because you won't catch it if you stay away. The more you stay away, the better the chances for so many other people who are likely not able to stay away. Then the issue where government comes in. What should government do? Government should be proactive, not just about the rhetorics, the narrative, the awareness. There are so many other areas that government should come in helping. The barrel of oil is now $26. In fact, it's $24.81 as at the last count. I don't know what it is now, but it's now hovering between $24 and $26 per barrel. Nigeria is going to be hit by a recession. The most never seen before recession is not a cause. It's not. It's not. It is not a bad wish. It is the combination of what is happening and the preparation of the government that should know better than myself. They know better than me, I believe. There is coronavirus that is going to hit the economy. People are going to be asked to self-isolate. So many companies in Lagos are going to tell people to stay away. And there will be not many, not many provision for them during this period. And it is going to be at no terminal time, so to say. It's not going to be like, in 3 months' time. And there are so many people who are going to be more endangered, exposed, because they can't stay away. Their means of survival, their means of livelihood depends on them going out every day to work. I understand. I do. I understand perfectly. That is where your government comes in. Politicians are asking for billions and billions and billions of naira just because they want to buy cars. They want to pay themselves a huge bonus and all of that. This is where your government comes in. There will be no more money to buy cars. There will be no more money to go for, there will be no international meetings to go to anyway. There will be no international checkup to go for anyway. All the countries in the world are shutting down their borders. This is where your government comes in. This is where, if genuinely humanity really matters to those who are leading Nigeria, I am not going to be directly affected. But there are so many people who are going to turn back to begging in the next few weeks if this virus hits Nigeria the way we are seeing it in the UK. 4 weeks ago, we were reading about it on social media here in the UK. In fact, it was more or less like someone like me even believed that if the coronavirus should get to the UK, in fact, it will die here. But guess what? The government is now more or less, hypothetically preparing us for Armageddon, right now in the UK, despite the fact that they have the facility. Now, think about Nigeria, where we have no facility. Cleanliness will help us fight this as well. But social distancing will help greatly. What is social distancing? Social distancing is when you manage to stay away as much as possible from a larger crowd going into church, going to mosque to go and pray. This is the period you have to stay home. Maybe not for yourself, but if you have aged people at home, if you have children at home, this is the time to keep the family together and stay together, stay at home. If you have to. Let me say if you can. So, the discussion, the conversation that should be going on right now in different government houses in Nigeria should be, what are we going to do to help the people if this thing should end up here? It is not about providing hand wash, providing sanitizers, and telling people to drink dogoyaro or to put pawpaw leaf, dogoyaro, and the rest of that and cook them. Those are very, very workable antibiotics too. And let me tell you something about the coronavirus as well. I'm going to come back to this issue of fuel price falling down and what the government can do. Washing your hands helps you. Using hand sanitizers every now and then to clean up helps you. Keeping a clean environment this period helps you a lot, or helps others too. But encouraging others to do the same, social distancing will help a lot. It is better safe than sorry. Buhari has quarantined himself in Abuja right now. He's not living Aso Rock again. He's an aged person. He's an old man. He can easily be infected by the virus. But there is something, I'm using him now as a very good example so that you can put a picture of what I'm about to tell you. You can put a picture in front of you and imagine what it will be or what it is going to be if this practice continues. Buhari or Bukhari is in Abuja right now. Everyone is going there to talk to him. In fact, there are some other foreign dignitaries who are still flying into Abuja to see him. We are seeing the pictures of so many visitors, guests, groups of people coming in and out to shake his hands and have conversation with him in the same room all day, all night, and so on and so forth. So as Old Rock, that's what I like to call the place now, because it's like a prison now. The Old Rock, where they are quarantining Buhari right now, is a coronavirus center in Abuja. Same way with so many government houses right now in Nigeria. But the funny thing about coronavirus is this. You can be a carrier, you can have it, and it won't show on you. And you can pass it, you can spread it without you even knowing. People are returning back from all over the world. Your relatives, your family members, they are returning back to Nigeria recently. Some of them have returned just as early as just last week. There are so many people who returned back from different trip abroad in the last 3 months. The Nigerian tested positive for it in Ekiti. Returned to Nigeria on the 25th of January. That is like 2 months back. You know what I mean now? So there are so many people carrying it without knowing. And Buhari may even be carrying the coronavirus right now with this theory I just gave you. Self-isolation means you tell people to stay away as much as possible. And if you have to meet people, you yourself should protect yourself without having to help carry and spread it. That is not happening. And that act of insensitivity was also shown in Ibadan yesterday. And so many people are abusing me for that. Because to them, everything is politics. If the coronavirus hits Nigeria, we have 8 cases now, 1 positive. 8 people have reported 8 new cases. And there are so many, and this virus will not show on you until after 3 weeks. Remember that. Until after 3 weeks. And when it starts, you don't know how many people you would have contact with in 3 weeks. That is why social distancing is very, very necessary. And when you feel like you have been coughing, you have been sneezing, and then you have been doing that intermittently or continuously, and you have to go out, then wear a mask. Get tested. The Senate President of Nigeria, Rubber Stamp Lawal, Ahmed Lawal, told us, that's the number 3 person in Nigeria. It is not me, not Maiyegun. Number 3 person in Nigeria, Senate President, Rubber Stamp Ahmed Lawal, confessed and he said, there is no single test center in the entire North, 19 states of the North, no single test center, despite the fact of the noise. People are going about with their normal businesses. No single test center in the entire southeast of Nigeria. Igbo land. No single test center so far in the entire Niger Delta region. And because the Muritala Muhammad Airport is in Lagos, the epicenter or the entrance of the coronavirus carrier into Nigeria, an Italian that flew in back then that kickstarted this whole campaign in Nigeria. If not for that, maybe we won't have a single one in Lagos right now. So what are they thinking? What are they talking about in different government houses? We know we don't have health care. There's no health centers as much as you would expect it in a country like Nigeria. People know that we don't have hospitals that will really care for those who don't even have coronavirus. Lassa fever is killing people in Nigeria more than coronavirus. Since the beginning of this problem, coronavirus is yet to kill one person in Nigeria, and we hope it will never be a case right there. But Lassa fever has been killing people in tens, in hundreds in Nigeria, even though it's not making so much headlines. But if you have to add the corona scare, the one that will actually go after the aged, I'm serious. This is not just something that you can laugh about and say, well, it can happen to us, or you bring your religion into it. Coronavirus knows no religion. Coronavirus knows no tribe, skin color, class, whether you are rich or poor. No single test center. If you feel like you have the symptom, if you just recently returned to Nigeria and you have been reading about this whole thing, you want to confirm what is the nature of your health right now, you will be God. Maybe if you are in Lagos, you will be lucky to get tested. In other parts of the country, it is a war. I am serious. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Provide the test kit. There is shortage of test kits all over the world, but there are so much efforts from all governments all over the world to ensure that they make provision for these things. They go into production of these test kits. They go into to match up the demand. What is Nigeria's preparation for this? Is the question. What's the Nigeria's preparation for this? Can we say our government is working right now on procuring test kits and supplying same to different hospitals in Nigeria right now? It is not just for you to start singing the praises of these politicians. Your life is also at stake here. Your health is at stake. The health of those you love. See those people who died in Italy at the beginning of this year. Maybe they would have died anyway, but it wouldn't have been at the rapid level this death of coronavirus COVID-19 killed people in Dublin. Killed people in Italy, killed people in the UK, killed people in other parts of Europe. That the entire Europe right now is an epicenter of the epidemic. The whole of Europe right now. No single country is spared. But 2 months ago, those who have died probably would never have believed that there's going to be a virus, that it's going to be a flu-like, and then instead of having a flu jab or using a flu medicine to treat it, it's not going to work. Rather, it's going to be your final. So many people have died. Thousands of people. So don't be selfish to bring in religion, to bring in race, color, class, or politics. So can we say that? Can we say Nigeria government is currently working on procuring Nigeria state governors from Ekiti to Nasarawa, from Gombe to Ebonyi, from Enugu to Ibadan, from Port Harcourt to Osogbo, are the state governments working on procuring test kits for the potential people who are going to need to be tested for COVID-19 in Nigeria right now? Your answer will determine what how prepared you are for that, okay? Crude oil price is now $26 in the world. No one is buying Nigeria oil anymore. The whole world is now very much like in isolation. This is the reality. COVID-19, coronavirus, has affected economies all over the world right now. And Saudi Arabia is not in any nice mood right now to play fair in the oil market. Nigeria government's 2020 budget, they put the benchmark, the oil benchmark at I think they put it at $45 or thereabout. So they hope that they will sell oil per, $45 per barrel. And at that time, oil was being sold between $68 and $78 per barrel. Nigeria was making a kill above what they budgeted for in the budget. So it was like 2020 was going to look good. When Saudi Arabia oil, oil rig was attacked by terrorists late last year, many pundits said Nigeria should be ready. Oil boom is coming. Oil price is going to skyrocket, or whatever it's called, skyrocketed. They said Nigeria will make more money now. And I believe these were the news that the Nigeria Buharinomicians, the Buharinomicians, they said it is the time for Nigeria to go borrowing. We can afford it anyway. After depleting the excess crude accounts balance from $3.8 billion in 2015, depreciating to just $71 million. The purpose of excess crude account is this. Let me tell you this. I'm going to come back to the effect of all of that soon. We have an account called the excess crude account. The excess crude account in Nigeria was put together to save excess money from the sale of crude oil in Nigeria. And this is how it works. When Nigeria says we are going to sell oil for $50 per barrel, and suddenly oil is being sold for $100 per barrel, that is an excess of $50 on each barrel. Nigeria produces about 2.3 million barrels, oil barrels per day. So multiply that by $100. So when your benchmark is $50 and you sold it for 100, the common sense thing is for you to keep the change. So they created what they called excess crude account and sovereign wealth fund to save the excess from the sale of crude oil. When Buhari came to power in 2015, the balance in the excess crude account was 3.5 billion. Buhari's government contributed and added $300 million to this balance in 2015. As at today, the balance in that bank account, in that excess crude account of Nigeria, is just $71 million. Buhari's government has plundered, squandered, and stolen a total of $3.8 billion from that account. In 2020, Buhari's government submitted a budget. Buhari's regime, rather, submitted a budget of almost 10 trillion. By the time the other criminals in the National Assembly joined and saw, entered the budget submitted by Buhari, they increased it to over 11 trillion. They had no money. They've plundered the resources. They've plundered the savings. They have squandered everything. But they believed that with the sale of oil, they will make a kill again by going borrowing. They wrote a budget without having any money. 11 trillion. In that 11 trillion budget, 70% of this money will be used in paying for the emoluments, the packaging, the life pensions, and the salaries of workers, as well as that of the politicians, including their foreign treatments, foreign medical treatments. 70% of this money will go into that, and part of that 70% will go into paying for the debt of yesterday, the borrowing of yesterday. But they were blind, and they were arrogant, they were proud, and they were so ignorant of what the world can be, that the world is so flat, even though we say it's spherical or it is round. Meanwhile, it is actually flat. Whatever happens at the one end of the world will affect the other end of the world. How people live with that is because of how they prepare. Nigeria is not prepared. 2 months into the 2020 budget of lie, 2020 budget of falsehood, and the hope of going borrowing, they started partying, and they gave themselves pat on the back by saying, yes, we will do this by borrowing. As long as we continue to sell oil, even though for years they lied about diversification, I am still yet to read where the agriculture diversification, they've spent millions of naira campaigning, promoting Oshibajo, lying up and down until today. I am yet to see the billions of dollars we are generating from agriculture to beat oil, because this time oil has been defeated and we are about to go completely broke. Recession. That's the alarm bell. Today, oil is not $45 per barrel as they predicted. Oil is no longer $65 per barrel as they thought. They have passed a bill to go and borrow $23 billion. Now nobody will borrow them money. The whole world is closing their borders. They are using their resources to help their people to stay alive. No one will give us $22.9 billion anymore. Now, politicians are supposed to what? They are supposed to become humans for once. Come down from the high horse and the high race they put themselves on, the fake life, the fake integrity, the fake life they gave to you. It is time for you to know that, listen, Nigeria is going to go broke, terribly broke, because your politicians would steal everything for themselves. Okay? Their livelihood depends on daily money they steal from the government. Daily check they write checks of billions of naira, billions of dollars. They don't care where the money comes from. If they have to rob a bank, they will rob a bank. If they have to pick your pocket, they will pick your pocket. But guess what? They are about to search your pocket too, and they will find nothing. Everyone is going to go. The apocalypse that they talk about is going to begin right there. It is coming. Job losses that we suffered in 4 years under Buhari is going to be a child's play to what is coming. Because number one, politicians won't be able to find enough to fill in their insatiable loss. Oil is now $26. And to let you know that they care no hoot about you, oil is now $26 per barrel. From 68 or between 68 and $78. When it was $65 or $68, they were selling it to you at 145 naira per liter. Now that and they are paying subsidy, by the way. This is a common math. Okay, Politicians will come to you, they will tell you what protects them and endangered you, right? Coronavirus is coming. If it should get to Nigeria properly, that many people need that test, or many people actually get infected, you will need money to take care of your loved ones. You will need money to go through the isolation. But guess what? Where your government should come in to help you, they won't. And this is how it works. I will break it down for you. When the oil was being sold for $65, your government was selling the petrol to you for 145 naira per liter. They are even paying subsidy. In 2018, in 2016, Buhari's government lied to you. When petrol was 87 naira per liter. Some of you have forgotten that you used to buy the fuel for 87 naira per liter under the last government before Buhari came in. When Buhari came in 2016, they said they were removing subsidy because subsidy was a scam and they needed to keep the money to develop Nigeria. So many Buhari Danes, Buhari Didinis, so many Buhari Dinotus, so many Buhari Dijatus, so many Buhari Shukus, Ungoziaris, Unekaris, so many obedient fools, humble slaves, and the sophisticated morons. There were so many Mumu Madus, Bele lecturers, and the Mumu lecturers on this street who told us that it was the right thing to do in 2016 when Buhari's government removed subsidy and oil price jumped from 187 naira per liter. From 87 naira per liter to 145 naira per liter. You remember, because they said oil price is that's sort of rose at the time. Then today, oil price is $26 per barrel. Should common sense not tell you that your government, who is paying subsidy while you are buying at 145 naira per liter, should at this point, one, remove subsidy, and number two, crash the price to match the price, or the market price? When they said they were adding subsidy, your government and the marketers who stole the money, the oil subsidy money, because there's nothing like subsidy in the first place, okay? It is just a free, what do you call it? It's just a free freeloaders. We call them the freeloaders. They pretend to give you this and they take money and they share the money. They do this again and again and again and again, and it's just like a racket. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on. It never ends. There is nothing like subsidy. But yeah, they they added subsidy. Nigerian government, Nigeria, Buhari, they said they removed subsidy in 2016. But in 2017, Buhari's government spent 800 billion naira on subsidy. In 2018, Buhari's government spent over 700 billion naira on subsidy. In 2019, Buhari's government spent over 1 trillion naira on subsidy, subsidizing fuel they told you they have removed subsidy from in 2016. That is why you are buying it at 145 naira per liter. So the reason why you don't have scarcity anymore is simply because it is now a paddy government. You know what? We will let you steal from the people. Why we share the subsidy money? Continue to sell at 145 naira. Why we've told people that we've removed subsidy. That's why they are buying at 145 naira per liter. So, but we are paying subsidy because we are also telling the same people that the reason why they are not buying more than 145 naira per liter is because we are paying subsidy. Confused scammers. That's what con artists do. They confuse you, and you won't even get to understand what is going on. They remove subsidy, increase fuel price to 145 naira per liter. Then a year after, they started paying subsidy, but you are still paying 145 naira per liter. Now, oil price is now 60% lower than the reason why they increased fuel price in the first place. So, when they increased fuel price, they said because oil price jumped from $45 to $60. And they cannot pay subsidy anymore. You have to pay at 145. But they continue to pay subsidy. So it's just a win-win situation for the marketers because your government now cooperate with them, pay them behind the scene, and hide the money from you. Okay, now that the fuel price is now $26, should your government not be honest enough? We have a coronavirus that is going to affect all economies all over the world. Yeah? Should your government not be nice enough to be honest to you and say, oh, oil price is now $26 per barrel. Landing cost for oil price, for oil in Nigeria shouldn't be probably more than 45 naira per liter. So if the landing cost is 45 naira per liter, marketers can go ahead and sell at, if you want to sell at 50 naira, sell at 50 naira. If you want to sell at 55 naira, sell at 55 naira. But the reality is you are selling because the amount you spend in bringing the fuel to Nigeria has reduced by 60%. From that 60%, Nigeria government is paying about 40% of that. Nigerian society, they are paying 20% of that 60% drop. What should happen? The price should drop. It is a common economy, or let me say it's common economics. When they start speaking other different grammar, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. If they love you, they will do everything right now to help you save money. That is what the government all over the world, that is what they are doing right now. To help everyone, because they know that whether you are infected by the virus, whether you are not, one of the reasons why the oil price will continue to fall is because there will be many buyers anymore. And when you continue to produce and there are no buyers, you will stop producing. At some point, you will tell your workers to go home. So when you tell your workers to go home, they also have families and they rely on the pay. So government all over the world, they are using everything possible to help those who are going to be affected, because we are all going to be affected. And this is when humanity should take the lead. Stop jumping on the social media trying to defend these politicians. You are not safe from it. And if you think you are, what about those vulnerable people or vulnerable members of your family? What about the aged people in your family? What about the children in your family? What about those who have medical conditions in your family? Have you thought about them before you decided to think this is about politics and politics and politics and politics? Some of you were telling me, my friend, you can't sit down in the UK and be telling us blah, 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 blah. I can sit down in the UK and tell you the danger you are in, because guess what? Humanity at this point is under attack. Who caused it? Where did it start from? Who are those that are responsible? And so on and so forth. They will come later. If you stay alive, the dead ones will not be able to, they won't be here to know who caused coronavirus and to know those who are already coronaviruses themselves on their people before coronavirus came. So if I begin to ask you to ask genuine questions, it is because of all of us safety. Not just about myself, not just about yourself. Some of these politicians are having their family members, their children, running away from these countries. They are returning back to Nigeria as we speak. So many of them, they themselves are in danger. No one is safe. The wives of head of government all over the world, they have been infected simply because they returned from overseas trips. They met people who ended up being tested positive. In Iran, high-profile government officials, they have been infected. Many of them have died because they have contact with people who returned from overseas trips that many people never thought would ever come to be. Saudi Arabia, where many of you go to for pilgrimage, where many of you go to get closer to Allah. They have shut down Allah's house in Saudi Arabia to keep people safe. When you are alive is when you can worship Allah. So if someone tells you, don't go to mosque tomorrow, because it is not because you have the virus, it is because for you not to have it. And for you not to bring it home to those who are vulnerable or will be easily infected. It is not about your religion. It is not about the blood of Jesus. Organizations, religious organizations all over the world, they are doing everything to keep their own worshippers safe. There was this gathering that was reported somewhere, I think in is it Pakistan or Malaysia, somewhere. It is a religious gathering. I think I'm not sure, but some of you have heard the news or who have read the story. You can please drop that in the comment section for the rest of us who are not really too sure. As well. They had this religious gathering in this country, and boom, 2 weeks after that, oh dear, the country is in a lockdown right now as we speak. So it knows no religion. It knows no, you will be alive. Isolate yourself. When you are alive, you can go back to church to give testimony when this is over. This is not because we think you will die from it. Not because I think you will get it. It is simply because if you won't get it, you can be a carrier and you can infect those who are vulnerable that you have no clue about. You have children who are asthmatic. Then this is for you. You should take it serious. Whether you are white, black, brown, green, blue, or whatever you want to call yourself, or identify as human being. You have children who have health conditions that you know of, then this is for you. It has nothing to do with blood of Jesus. It has nothing to do with what do you call it? Your Torah or whatever you call it. Be responsible, at least, if not for yourself, for those people you love. Because if this happens, where do we go to? Where do you go to? The responsibility of the government. The responsibility of government cannot be overemphasized. The responsibility of the government cannot be passed on to the others. We should all be responsible. We are all to be responsible. But there are people saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that when things goes wrong, there's always a succor for you. That is what we are asking for. That's what we are telling people. It is not politics. And don't laugh about it. There are going to be cases. No country is immune from it. I'm glad that Nigeria has shut the border. It is a great gesture. That's what the rest of the world is doing right now. Shut the border. Provide test centers. They told us that they are working on the health care system in Nigeria. If you ask this governor, he will tell you he's done so well, so greatly well. He's constructed hospitals, he's constructed health centers and all of that. Convert all the health centers, local government health centers, 774 local government we have. Convert all the health centers, all the primary health centers across Nigeria. Convert them to test centers. Create test centers in these locations. Do that, so that when people feel the symptoms, it doesn't mean that they have it. Okay? It doesn't mean that they have it, and it doesn't mean that they don't. How do we know? Get a test done. The whole world is rationing the test kit. We all know that. The Nigerian government should go into production too. So if you talk about a progressive country or progressive leadership, then you should ask your government to also do the same. Start producing the kits, start producing things to fill in the shortages. Stop budgeting money for cars. Stop budgeting money for your for cars, for healthcare, for all this flamboyant lifestyle. Stop budgeting money for birthdays abroad and all of this nonsense. Start converting the money into, at least tell people to go into production. Go to Aba, they will produce anything. Aba boys will produce anything. Give them the prototype of what you want them to produce. They will produce them in millions for you. Give them the money. Give them the resources. Start preparing. That's what responsible government should be doing right now. Stop expecting World Bank to respond. Stop expecting UK to come to your aid. Stop expecting America to come and give you help. Start doing something. Stop all this, what do you call it? Entitlement mentality. The World Bank will not come to your aid. World Health Organization will not come to your aid. Whatever they have for you, you will read it on their Twitter or on their Facebook page. And if they manage to hold any of them to give interview, you will watch it on CNN or watch it on BBC. Nobody is coming to help anybody. The whole world is in isolation. So Nigerian politicians should know this. All the money you are budgeting for these flamboyant, needless jamborees. Call people. You know, there are factories in Nigeria that can start producing some of these things. Be prepared. Be safer than sorry. That's what the whole world is doing right now. Be safer than sorry. And stop being stupid on social media when politicians are being mentioned or are being called out to do the right thing. Stop being stupid. Stop being unfortunate. Someone was there and said, you, Maiyegun, what have you done for us on the issue of coronavirus? I was like, what do you want me to do for us, for you? Other than to give you the information that will at least help you. Do you want me to go and buy you the test kits and ship it to Nigeria? And for how many people would I ship that to? When your government can actually do the right thing and stop using these billions in this flamboyant lifestyle that some of you are calling God's blessing. That's not God's blessing. Churches should shut all their centers across the country. That's the right thing to do. Are they going to do it? I don't know. But it is the right thing to do. Avoid any large gathering. And possibly with from the money you have in your different religious organizations, visit the church and mosque members, worshippers at home who are going to be staying home this period to help them, support them. If you have any spare, go ahead and procure test kits for your church members, for your mosque members, for your religious sect. Let them know their statuses, and then that also keeps everyone safe. You know what I mean? Stop telling them to drink holy water. Stop telling them that when they drink semi-semi, the semi-semi water, whatever you call it, in Saudi Arabia, Saudi government right now, they are sharing hand sanitizers, face masks for so many people on the street right now in Saudi Arabia. They are not sharing semi-semi water. They are not sharing water from Israel. In Israel right now, they are also on lockdown. What do you call it? Their Prime Minister, Netanyahu, just gave a marching order as well, apart from the economic stimulus that they are actually putting in to support the people in Israel right now. The government is investing a lot into discovering the drug, the real drug to cure coronavirus. They are doing a lot to keep their people alive. They are not busy getting some water of Jordan to cure themselves. They are not telling people to go and read Psalm 27 or Psalm this or Psalm that. They are not telling people to go fasting and prayer. Saudi Arabia is not asking people to come to Saudi to come and get semi-semi. Saudi Arabia is not asking people to come to Saudi Arabia to come and surround the Kaaba so that to stay alive. All the Islamic cleric in Iran who told us that coronavirus was a punishment from Allah to Chinese or to the China government for what they are doing to Muslims in China. Most of them are now down with the coronavirus right now in Iran. So don't be unfortunate. Don't be religiously stupid. There are so many of you already displaying that on Facebook. You are waiting for your carnal knowledge. The carnal knowledge is not, those who are not, if you don't listen to God, if you're not a children of God, you cannot hear from God. You are hallucinating. And this is not an attack on your religion. It is an awake call on your stupidity. Leave God out of this. Coronavirus no God. Coronavirus no religion. Coronavirus no skins. Coronavirus knows no tribe. So stop being stupid and unfortunate. Leave God out of this. And stop endangering people's lives. Saudi Arabia government had to cancel pilgrimage for this year. They don't want anyone to come to Saudi Arabia at all for this year. Do you think they don't know God? Do you think that they don't hear from God? Israel, Jerusalem, all these countries that many of you go to meet God. They are working so seriously, and now you can't go there because to them, they don't want you to bring the virus. They are dealing with it right now. They're not telling their people to go normal, to go ahead with their life because they are children of God. You know, God anointed children. God told us. Those are supposed to be children of God, aren't they? So don't be unfortunate. Don't be stupid on social media, trying to make yourself sound like you're actually so intelligent. Twisting it and telling people that God told you this, God told you that. So this is not an attack on your religion. This is not an attack on what you believe in. It's just to tell you that you want to stay alive, you want to worship your God, you want to hear more from your God. Stay away from public places. Avoid large gatherings. And your God will be grateful that you are at least sensible enough to know better. So they will tell you it's not a big deal. But it is a big deal it will become a big deal if the story we'll share next time about a coronavirus victim is you, then it will no longer be funny. Pray, very good. There are those who have so much faith in prayers. Pray, fine, but protect yourselves. Protect those around you. There are so many people who believe so much in faith, and I respect that. We all do. I do personally. But don't play this down. Pray as you always do, and your prayer will be answered if you act sensibly enough. So as for Nigeria government and Nigerians who said it is quite okay to continue to buy your fuel at 125 naira, I think, you deserve the government you have. Okay? The workable, practical economics, layman economics, which is the economics I study. I don't know the other economics or whatever other people are bringing up, the economics theory. But in my own layman economics, if the price of production crashes, the price of the products will also crash. So if you are paying 120 naira to bring fuel to Nigeria and you sell it at 145 naira, well, we can say that makes sense, even though it doesn't. But when you begin to bring your fuel back to Nigeria at the landing cost of 45 naira, and you lie to the people that you're bringing it more than that, when we know that the cost of the product you take to Nigeria is now of this certain amount, $26 from $68. So we have we have about 60% drop in how much you bring the fuel to Nigeria, and you turn around to say, well, what you bring to Nigeria is still 120 naira, but you can sell it to us for 125 naira. It is a fraud. That should reflect what you sell it in Nigeria should reflect how much you actually get it for. So if the government of Nigeria is supporting that, it means that the government of Nigeria is behind the coming recession and hardship that many of you should be ready for greatly. Unfortunately, many of you will not be able to run away anymore. You will know there is no country that is going to take you in anymore. Not this time. So you should be prepared, or you begin to ask your government to do the right thing. The right thing to do in the face of what is coming. One, I read it here somewhere that the government of Nigeria has reduced 1.1 trillion naira from their 11 point something trillion naira budget, 2020 budget. That's a sign to tell you that many of the things they told you they will be able to do in 2020, they will not be able to do 1% of that because of what is coming. As well as their greed. But if they jettison their greed, they will be able to still do something in the interest of the people. They have removed their 1.1 trillion from the budget, which means so many things they promised to do will be cancelled because they will have no money. Now, so many things you plan to do in the next couple of months will be affected too. Some of you are going to lose your jobs. I'm not a bringer of sad news. I'm not a carrier of sad news. But it is what to come. Okay? Many of you will lose your jobs. Many of you are watching me right now from your offices in Nigeria. Because of what is about to hit you, many of you are going to lose your jobs, and your government is not in the position to help you or prepare you for what is coming. And many of you seems not to even have an idea of what is coming, of what is about to eat. And you will continue to buy at 125 naira per liter when you should be buying it as low as even 40 naira per liter with the subsidy your government is paying already. The subsidy money they want to pay marketers for this year, they've already arranged where they are going to get it from. They know those they are going to share the money to. So the government in Nigeria should start by first stopping the subsidy for real and doing the right thing by crashing the price of the petroleum in Nigeria right now. When that is done, then the little money that you'll be left with, when this whole thing hits home properly, the little money you'll be left with, you can be able to afford to take care of yourselves, your family members, and stay alive. But if what I'm telling you now doesn't make sense to you, I will come back here in weeks' time and I will remind you. I will remind you of what the nonchalant attitude of the people who are supposed to be so busy right now, thinking of how they are going to help you against what is coming, but they are scheming on how to leverage on that and possibly make more of their blood money. You don't know. I am telling you now. And if you are not prepared for it, you will be in shock when this finally happens. There is going to be economic downturn in Nigeria. I'm not a pastor, and this is actually, I've told you the reason why it's going to happen. Should you relax and accept 125 naira per liter simply because of political correctness and then wait on these people who have shown so much nonchalant attitude towards what is coming, and then come back here in 3 weeks or 1 month's time to start complaining and joining the whalers? Let's keep the door open for those who are abusing us today simply because we tell them the truth about the fake con artist criminals in government across board, PDP, APC, so far so good, terrible human beings in charge of other human beings. Human calamity is about to come, and they seems not to be prepared. They are focusing on you not catching the virus. They are not focusing on you not being affected by the economic downturn that the virus will cause. So if you are educated, what I have been saying in the last 1 hour should begin to make sense to you, that if the rest of the world are preparing and then planning to take care of those who are going to be affected, and those who are going to be affected by the virus, and those who are going to be affected by the economic effect of the virus, which is the largest number, by the way. The people that are going to be affected by the virus are never going to be up to the number of people that are going to be, the people that are going to be infected by the virus are never going to be as many as those who are going to be affected by the economic downturn of the virus. How prepared is Nigeria? Or is it just about washing your hands? Is it just about staying away from people? No. It is more than that. And the earlier you know that, the better for you. Stay away from the open gathering of so many people. If you have to go for shopping, if you have to go to the market, that shouldn't stop you from going to the market to buy anything, right? Go to the market, pick up enough supply that will last you for a certain period of time, and then you don't make it like, oh, I have to be there, it's not a choice. If you have to go to work, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't go to work, right? But if you have to go to work, please stay safe as much as possible. This is when it comes to washing your hands every now and then, staying away from it, stop sneezing into your hands. If you have to sneeze into your elbow. And when I say sneeze into your elbow, this is not how to sneeze into your elbow or something like no. You have to cover it and sneeze into your elbow, okay? and wash your hands every now and then. This helps you so that if you have touched anything, if you have had interaction with someone who is a carrier and you don't know, there will be so many people who are carriers that you will never know. They will not carry the symptoms. They are not going to be sneezing. They are not going to be coughing. They are not going to be doing anything. So to safeguard yourself from that, that is why you have to ensure you wash your hands all the time with soaps. Okay, wash your hands with soap, dry them, and then keep your distance as much as possible. That is if you have to go into contact with other people. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for watching Maiyegun's Diary. We'll have a time where we'll have a call-in. I'm going to go into self-isolation myself very soon. But I'm trying to put in a few things at work right now. And because at my own workplace, they've told us, I work in in a sector that is so vital to the to the UK's everyday life. Now that many people are going to be staying at home, so my kind of job is so essential that I have to be at work. But guess what? It is going to be by choice. My employer, they've already sent a letter to all of us that, you know what, because of this coronavirus of a thing, we can't stop our service. People are going to need our service every now and then. They're going to be calling in and asking us for help, assistance here and there, especially now that they're going to be staying home. So we need to always be there to talk to them. We need to always be there to take care of their own needs in this time. But it is by choice. So if I don't have the symptoms of the virus, if I have not yet been showing any of that, right, I can stay home to self-isolate this period. UK government will provide few things to support me and my family during this period. My employer will provide a sum of support for me during this period. But I choose to still go because now I can still go until probably I can't. So in the next couple of weeks, right, I am also going to be home. And it is going to be indefinite. Indefinite means it's not going to be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or anything. It can be for months that I won't go to work at all. The reason why I can choose not to is because I know there is a provision for me during that period to take care of myself, take care of my family, and I won't have to become homeless, hungry, or without medical care. So staying home means I can also stay away from infecting others if I am a carrier and I don't know. And that in that aspect, it helps the government keeping many people away from the hospital because there are no hospital beds to cover the pandemic. That is a foresight government who knows that it can come to this. And whenever that happens, we should think about those that will be affected. Or yes. So in the next couple of weeks, I may end up staying home myself. And probably I will use the opportunity as well to talk to you more. But until then, keep safe distance. Stay safe. Practice cleanliness. Do as much as you can. Remember to do them. Remember the people you love. Remember the vulnerable people. Your granny, your grandma, in the Jebu in the village and the rest of that. You should care about them. You will not be happy if you should receive a call that says they had flu and then something happened and they are dead. You will be heartbroken, won't you? That is why you have to care. And it is not a joke. It is not a laughing matter. It is not a religious matter. It has nothing to do with your race, your tribe, whether you are white or black. It has to do with humanity. If you are human, you will do the right thing. Thank you so much for your time. See you some other time.
My sister, this government don't you they suffer? We pray God for Nigeria. After the election, what them do? We still wait to see the change. Cause all the promise what them make, try it on the be like saying I fake you. ayé ìṣúra ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá ayé ìṣúra aṣòfin tí ń rúfin òun ayé ìṣúra òkúrọ̀ olóṣèlú ayé ìṣúra ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣúra kì ayé ìṣúra kì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣúra kì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣúra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá lè ròyìn fi wọ́n níran òun. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣúra kì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣúra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣúra kì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣúra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran. Ìmọ̀ àìṣeré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ìmọ̀ àìṣeré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣà ìtúwọ̀n síta. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣúra kì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣúra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran. Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Maiyegun ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú màmá ni mo fọlọ́ ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ̀ bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú màmá ni ìwọ ṣá máa ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà lè rí oníṣègùn lè káwọ́ màmá fi ṣọ́ra wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Èkó ọ̀bọ̀ lọmọ bá dẹ́rọ́ tájọ gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti jọba lórí àdúrà ẹni kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Àìsíwọ́lú ní ẹnìkan ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o gbogbo ẹni tó bá dán wò á kàmù. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣúra kì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣúra kì o. Ẹni bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣà bí wọ́n níran o. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣúra kì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣúra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran.
Good morning.